Yes. Welcome to the next FINE webinar that we're holding. It's the fifth of our webinars on a very hot sunny day. Thank you for joining us all live. We know that quite a number of people watch the webinars afterwards, but it's always great to have a live audience as well. So thank you for being here. Today, we want to specialize this webinar about the fintech sector in Poland. I didn't know very much about it, but I've been introduced to it by our speakers, and I find it extremely interesting. So I'm really looking forward to sharing all what they have to tell us with you today. I will start shortly with an overview of the FINE project. I think most of the people we have in the webinar have joined us before, so they know this, but I will run through it again shortly. And then we will go over to our speakers. So without further ado, I will start with the short recap about FINE. Can you all see my screen? Yes? All right.
Yes.
So we are organizing this webinar as part of the FINE project. And FINE stands for the Fintech Investor Network and Ecosystem. It's a European project. And the aim of FINE is to build stronger connections among the fintech networks in Europe. What we see in Europe is that the startup and scale-up scene focuses nationally, especially from the investor side. So investors focus mostly on national startup and scale-ups, and we miss opportunities here. Because if we compare ourselves to the US or the UK market, you see that there's much more investment going on there. And one of the factors could well be this slight isolation of the European fintech networks. So this project has as its aim to connect these networks. And the way to connect it that has been chosen is through the investors, because we see that startup and scale-ups do look outside of their countries, but the investors are a bit more hesitant. So what we're trying to do is to connect international investors to collaborate and to invest together. Because we see that if investors do look over the border, they really like to co-invest with a local investor. To do this, we have developed a number of tools, and I will just run you through the tools shortly, if my thing works. Yes. So FINE tries to build a community and tries to increase the visibility, and we do that with several tools. The first tool is the FINE matchmaking platform. It's a very dynamic community. We have more than 200 players on it at the moment. It's a platform that is on the F-Success platform. You're more than welcome to join us. It's investors and startups and scale-ups are there. And there's a possibility to be matched to an investor or to a scale-up, whatever suits your needs. Then we have a Slack channel where we share, sometimes prospects, useful events, a lot of other knowledge. So please come and join us there too. We will send you the slide deck after, so you can get all the information from there. Then we have the Fintech Ambassador Network. It's a group of 21 experts. They're investors, we have business angels, some prospects as well, who give key insights to investors about the networks and about prospects and how to invest into them. And we have FINE mentoring sessions. In FINE mentoring sessions, we just had one last week. We connect prospects or investors to experts so they can ask all their questions. We also have the FinTech Investor Academy. It's an online resource, and it has a lot of information. It has podcasts. All the webinars are on there. The workshops are on there. And we also have an e-learning about investing, which handles all the material from when you start to invest all the way up to a specialized module about fintech investment. There's 11 modules and there are 55 lessons in there. It's free, so please join and do that. And then we also have maps. We have the ecosystem map of the main countries, where you can see who are the main players in this country and what are general trends. Also, and we have the investor map. In the investor map, you see the players, and in the ecosystem map, of course, you see the infrastructure and the general trends. So all these tools are there, free for you to use. Please use them and join our communities, because then everything becomes more powerful. Here you see the main countries that the investor map focuses on, and the ecosystem map as well. Poland is not in there, but we got a lot of questions about the Polish market. A lot of people were interested in it. So that's why we decided to do this webinar today. So that was the introduction, very short, of the FinTech project. If you have more questions or if you want to join us, we are all reachable, so you can do that. And then I would like to move on to our first speaker. Our first speaker is Aneta. Aneta, I would like you to introduce yourself, and Aneta is going to tell us or give us an overview of the Polish fintech ecosystem. Please start by introducing yourself, Aneta. We can't hear you yet. I think you're still.
Yeah, sorry, I was muted, of course. Okay, so my name is Aneta Girdwoyń. I am an advocate and a senior lawyer at FinTech Company Foundation, where I am responsible for regulatory advocacy and public affairs. And a quick word about FinTech Poland. We gathers approximately 150 companies, FinTech companies mostly. And we support them, their development and of digital, like the whole digital financial ecosystem. Do you see my presentation in good order?
We only can see the first page, the first slide. Focus on Poland.
Okay. Okay. So it's oh my, just a sec, please. Oh, the slide has changed?
Now it works. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much. So let's start with a bit of history. On this slide, you will see a few key milestones from Poland's recent history, events that had played an important role in shaping our economic development. Now, I assume that most of you are not very familiar with Polish history, so this is just a quick summary that after World War II, Poland fell within the Soviet sphere of influence. So for decades, both our political and economic system were entirely controlled by authorities in Moscow. And the turning point came in 1989 when Poland held its first partially free election since the war. And the first time candidates other than those handpicked by the communist regime were allowed to run in this election. So just 30 years ago, Poland was still a young democracy with a developing market. So emerging from decades of central planning, we were not yet on the radar of global investors. Then, of course, we tried to become a reliable partner for global investors. So we began joining major international organizations. The true catalyst came in 2004 when Poland joined the European Union and adopted the full body of EU law, policies, standards, and we, of course, gained access to the single market, European market. And today, as The Economist wrote in May this year, Poland is an underestimated European powerhouse. And what are the grounds for these statements? Here's some numbers. Since 1995, income per capita has tripled, reflecting the scale of our economic transformation. Secondly, in the first quarter of this year, the average monthly salary reached $2,400. So it's a strong indicator of raising living standards in Poland. What's more, since 2004, Poland has almost completely avoided recession, maintaining an average annual GDP growth of 4%. So it's quite a number. It's quite a level of stability and resilience over 2 decades. And finally, as of May this year, Poland's registered unemployment rate stood as just 5%. So it's making it the second lowest in the entire European Union. And these figures are not just statistics; they show a country that has built a solid foundation for long-term growth, I hope. And these figures give us a perfect ground for innovation. So what made fintech thrive in Poland? I indicate for the most important factors, which are digital savvy customers. Or we are really eager to try new solutions. We have a competitive market that drives innovations. We have a highly skilled talent pool, especially in the field of IT and cybersecurity. And we also have a clear cultural shift toward innovation and convenience. So that leads us to our fintech boom. Back in 2018, we have only 167 fintech companies, and nowadays we doubled this number. And our fintechs operate across 15 sectors. Later on, I will show you the map of whole Polish fintech landscape. And we have top 3 areas: payments, software providers. As I said, we have strong talent pool in IT specialists, and corporate finance management. And together, these only 3 segments account for nearly half, I guess, of all fintech firms in Poland. And 50% of all Polish fintechs are headquartered in Warsaw, which has become the country's fintech capital. So let me highlight why Warsaw stands out for a top destination for doing business in the region in general, I guess. First and foremost is security matters, especially for international investors. Then we have cost efficiency. Office rental costs in Warsaw are significantly lower than in other cities, capital cities in Europe, while still providing a high quality infrastructure. So it's create one of the best quality to price ratios in the region. And Warsaw is also like the city of it's the talent base, I would say. It's a home to over 30,000 highly qualified IT specialists across 42 fields of software engineering. So if we want to add to this a vibrant academic environment and a growing startup scene, and you will get a real tech hub with depth and diversity. And finally, Warsaw is already a proven choice for global players. The city hosts more than 350 business service centers, including R&D, IT, and shared service operations. So whether you're looking for, I don't know, talent, value, or like strategic location geographically, Warsaw, it's a good spot. So yeah, and it's just a quick snapshot of Polish fintech landscape, published annually by the financial news portal Cashless.pl. And I would like to quickly circling back to the digitally savvy Polish customers. Here are some key data points of use and adoption of different payment solutions in Poland. So, for example, by 2024, we have 72% of cashless Poles. It's quite a number, and we managed to double this rate during 1 decade. So it's our real success. And what supports this level of usage, contactless payments methods? We have a robust payment infrastructure. 97% of all POCs terminals in Poland supported contactless payment cards. And it didn't happen by accident. A key driver of this trend was the Cashless Poland program. It's a government-supported initiative that helps new merchants by subsidizing the cost of POC's hardware and transactions fees. So it created a really powerful incentive to go digital for both the business and customers. And another important example of our tech-savvy society is the Polish digital ID, which was recently granted legal equivalence to the physical one. Of course, by 2026, all, I guess, European countries have to have that, but we have this already, and as of 2024, over 10 million citizens are already using it. And we have some business cases, like the real life applications. We can have a loan in VeloBank only using our digital ID. Okay, and now we gonna go to like more regulatory part of the presentation. Yeah, so let's take a brief look of how EU investors can enter the Polish market. First, of course, good news is that investors from other EU member states can operate in Poland on the same terms as Polish ones. So you can do your business directly or through a local established entity. And there are several entry options. You can set up a new Polish company, or you prefer a faster route. You can acquire a shelf company that's already registered. Alternatively, you may open a branch office or a representative office, the latter being limited strictly to promotion activities only. So you have to bear it in mind. And in certain sectors, such as cross-border services of payments institutions, crypto assets, and so on, it's also possible to provide services directly from abroad. So it's a European passport. And when you're choosing a legal form, it is important to understand the distinctions. The interesting form which you can operate in Poland is prosta spółka akcyjna. So it's a simple joint stock company. It was designed for startups and innovative ventures. It offers more flexibility in capital structure and allows contribution in the form of work or services. So basically, you are not you can have no capital to establish this form of company. And of course, each form of these entities has its benefits, and the right choice really depends on your business size, founding plans, and of course, governance preferences. So yeah, I made this table here. We have a comparison of the three main entry paths with key advantages and disadvantages listed. I won't go into detail now, but I encourage you to take a look once I share the presentation. And let's give it to establishing fintechs in Poland. One of Poland's strengths is its streamlined company registration process, especially for startups. So as I said, you can set up a simple joint stock company entirely online. And in many cases, registration can be completed in as little as 24 hours through the government platform, which called S24. And this is particularly attractive for early stage ventures that want to get to market quickly. And once operational, companies must comply with digital-only reporting obligations. So it's quite convenient for our companies. You have to have a qualified electronic signature for your directors, but it's not very complicated to gain one. And you have no legal requirement to of course, appoint a Polish resident director, but in practice, it often makes compliance easier. So when it comes to interacting with Polish authorities and signing filings, it's a good option to have one Polish director. And the other thing is supportive regulatory environment. So we have, and it's aligned with EU law, some activities that are required to be licensed or permitted by our supervisory authority. And this includes payment services, lending, funds and investments, cloud-based solution, e-commerce, crowdfunding, and crypto assets and digital tokens. So we have two key authorities that are involved in supervising and guiding these sectors. First is the Polish Financial Supervisory Authority, KNF. In addition to its licensing and supervisory function, Polish financial Supervisory Authority also offers proactive support for innovators. It has a innovation hub, and it can give you the support for any regulatory issues, including free of charge written or oral consultations, usually within about 14 days. There's also a regulatory sandbox, which allows fintechs to test their solutions in controlled and real market environment. For example, for firms offering account information or payment initiative services, that virtual PSD2 sandbox lets them test flows using Polish API before launching live services. And the second authority is GIFI, the General Inspector of Financial Information, which oversee mainly AML and counter-terrorism financial compliance. So GIFI receives like suspicious transactions report, work closely. Yeah, they work closely with KNF and other tax authorities. So yeah. I will go to tax incentives in Poland. Yeah, so the corporate income tax basic rate is set at 19% of net profit. As a rule, net profit is calculated as a difference between revenues and tax deductible costs. So, but however, for certain small tax payers, the rate may equal 9%. And we have this Estonian seat model. It was introduced in 2021 and in particularly appealing for growing business. So the idea was simple. Companies don't pay SIT until they actually distribute profits. For example, in the form of dividends is the simplest example. That means that as long as the company reinvests its earnings, it can defer paying corporate tax. Yeah, so yeah.
You're running a little bit over
of time, sorry.
Yeah.
But okay, so I will skip it. I just should say shortly about this financial incentives. We have, as you can see, 6 different tax reliefs and support schemes for investors. Yeah, and I describe it a little bit. We have also like additional tax relief supporting innovation and automatizations. So here's the general terms for this tax reliefs. And in our investor-friendly environment, we have, of course, direct government grants, as I said, tax incentives, bank guarantees up to 80% of financing, venture capital support by our government-supported PFR venture company. Then we have a few sectoral programs for tax, exports, and green economy, of course. So all more detailed and information about that you can find in my presentation. And
right.
yeah. Yeah. Sorry for running the time.
No, it's very interesting. Oh, this is
I,
also
the last thing I wanna invite you to our annual event, to Warsaw Finance Week. It is a great platform for investors to contact with other fintech companies, with FinTech Poland Foundation, maybe. So it's a really great event for global investors to be in, and to have some possibilities to get familiar with other business.
all right. Thank you so much. It's a very comprehensive overview, I think. And we did know your time was short, so I think well, I have a lot of questions, but other people as well. But we'll probably save the question till last, and we will go straight on to Karolina from the Warsaw Equity Group. Karolina, thank you for joining us to give us an investor perspective on fintech in Poland. And well, you could maybe start with introducing yourself, and you have the floor.
Thank you very much. Thank you for inviting me. Good morning, everyone. It's great to be here. I definitely love those ecosystem snapshots. They are extremely helpful. I hope my slides are visible. This is this technical thing that I need to double check. If so, I can give it a go. And let's make this investor sprint together. Myself, I've been in different shoes, in the founder shoes right now for a couple of years, in the investor shoes. That's my main and core area of expertise currently. I work at the intersection of startup investment and ecosystem of innovation. So I will try to have this landscape snapshot with you. And very shortly about Warsaw Equity Group, we are a growth equity investor. So in a moment, we will see this overall map of different active investors in the country. So we are positioned as this later stage, growth stage investor, actively investing for the past 26 years already. So you've had this a little bit of the history part from my colleague here. Yeah, so that's as long as we have this venture market active and present in the country. So we are one of the, let's say, those renowned investors in the ground, but still very actively investing. So today's presentation will cover mostly who's raising, where, and why it matters. From Szczecin to Zakopane, I picked two very distant cities from each other. One is in the northwest, and the second one is the southeast. So from across the whole country, obviously with Warsaw as the very active hub, what was also mentioned by the fellow colleague, fellow speaker before. So starting from this quick market pulse check. I will not repeat what's already been said, but from the investor's perspective, it is a very unique position of the market currently here, especially for the fintechs. And it has been like that for many, many years so far. So for investor's perspective, what is very important is this literacy and this readiness for people, both consumers and enterprises, to adopt fintech related solutions, because we skipped a couple of financial, let's say, stages with writing checks and other aspects when our economy was a little bit more open to businesses, to free flow of money. We immediately jumped to digital solutions already. That was the momentum back around 1990s and 2000. And what's also pretty important, we believe as investors actively investing all across Europe that Poland is this very good launchpad for scaling, for starting here and then expanding. So very strong base is present here. So as I said, this fact of having a very digitally savvy, digitally engaged population is a very good starting point for all of the investors that are thinking of just having foot in the door, even just to look around and to see what startups we have. From the investor's perspective, key verticals that we have definitely include payments, personal finance. So the B2C model is relatively strong for fintechs here, open banking, as well as let's say, a little bit more professionalized, or let's say in-depth areas such as lending, regulational tech, insurtech, and blockchain. Here on the lower part of the slide, you can see some of the companies that I feel paved way to what we can right now call the fintech boom on our local market. So going through left to the right, we do have companies like Blik, which is this Poland national mobile payment system. We have Autenti, which delivers digital signatures, very, very commonly used by banks and financial institutions. We have AutoPay, which is this payment kind of processor for different e-commerce systems, but also for individuals. We do have Ramp, which is also the facilitator of digital payments based in London and in between London and Warsaw. And my fellow speaker as well, so I will not say too much about WEALTHON, but definitely a very strong player on the market too. Very shortly, we are also in a pretty interesting moment all across Central and Eastern Europe, but Poland is this very active hub, and also because of the size of the country, the core of the region in many verticals, in many sectors. It's a very good momentum to grow startups here. That's my honest belief, coming from the founder shoes right now, in the investor shoes. We have rising stars in terms of our local technological companies, and because fintech has always been our strong point, then definitely fintech is one of the these areas that have huge potential. I believe that we are also here to look into some numbers. So if we talk about the market landscape, I cannot miss the investment landscape itself. So we've seen a very exponential growth in the fintech sector in the last years. So in a few last years, we increased the number of active fintechs by nearly 80% right now, having more than 300 active fintechs in the country. As my colleague mentioned, mostly around Warsaw, but I would say that we all know that capital cities attract headquarters, but definitely more hubs available for fintechs and for creating these sort of businesses. We are followed by, for example, Krakow and Wrocław, which are the hotspots for the technical innovation as well. When it comes to money, I know that investors will usually use some types of currencies. Just in the last around 12 months, I've written here 2024-25 because we are still exactly in the middle of the year. Fintechs raised more than $250 million. What is pretty common about our market is most of these rounds are rather early stage, so seed to Series A. What is a typical challenge, being totally frank with you all, we mostly have those early stage rounds, and right now we are trying to make a little bit more speed into the growth stages so that we are, as the ecosystem, sufficient in capital in order to support Series B plus rounds. The good news is that there are a couple of active funds, including the one I represent, Warsaw Equity Group. We invest at the later stages, but I believe we need a little bit of more active funds being later in the startup journey. So I hope it will also improve in the coming years. In terms of typical ticket sizes, if you're coming from a little bit more like Western Europe, or you're familiar with other global hubs, our ticket sizes are relatively smaller comparing to what you may be totally used to, ranging from 100 to €500,000 for the pre-seed, up to 10 million plus for Series B and beyond. I will not right now describe what exactly we are looking into. I have that in the next slides. So we will talk about the priorities when you think of getting funded here in the region, in our country. But I would like to suggest a quick look at some of the recent funding rounds. Again, I will leave the space for our colleague here to talk about WEALTHON. Definitely there will be a lot of insightful news and updates from them. Looking generally into the landscape, we do have a diverse landscape when it comes to different different stages, different progress of fintechs happening here. From all of the, let's say, top startups that I let myself selected on the previous slide, we have Authenty with their Series B round of around 9 million euros 3 years ago. Similarly, 3 years ago, Ramp also Series B, but for 60 million euros. Then we also have other, let's say, very strong players. We have Autologic that is also on the intersection of fintech and general administration. Their Series A was at around 7 million euros last year. We also have some really good and very quality startups at the earlier stages. Just to give you the example, just the news, very fresh news from June, I think so, just this month, last month, Bitfinance raised their seed capital at almost 2 million euro ticket. So I would say that it is definitely great to see that, you know, some of the startups that we've been observing for a couple years now, for some of them more than 10 years active on the market, they really move on, they really progress, and we see more established rounds happening for them, while we also see some new players, some fresh blood in the ecosystem. So I feel like that's a very good sign for the whole ecosystem and for the sector. When it comes to funding, what I highly recommend, this is one of the very good landscapes for all of the VCs, active VCs for Poland, for our country. This is the landscape made annually by our colleagues, our partner fund Innovo. And here you can see all of the names, all of the logotypes of active investors. I feel like it's a very good starting point if you want to really deep down analyze who is active, who is set up in here. As you can see, what is pretty promising for us is not only as 10 years ago, we have the local investors, local active VCs, which is the first category, but also you can see, starting from here, this is a very long infographic, so I just clipped it into 2 columns so we can see it all. So not only the local VCs are already active in this sphere, but also the foreign VCs. This is the category that is more and more frequent, and that's a very good sign. That's a sign of more matured and very attractive market, let's say, looking from the global perspective. We also do have a few examples of CVCs, which is corporate venture capital. Also, I would say financial sector is one of the most frequent corporate venture capital categories, having, for example, PKO Bank Polski with their internal venture fund, venture body. But not only, there are also other banks already setting up their structures or already put in place. Looking into a little bit of more analytics, what we see in terms of the exponential growth and the unicorn status of our companies, we can definitely see that fintech is in our top 3 categories, just behind health, which is also a little bit of the historical industry for us. So definitely health tech, fintech, and then this general enterprise software is something that we've many years ago already put a bet on, and we keep on supporting these areas. Looking into our, let's say, systematic view as the investor at how and why Poland is our bet for the fintech, for the overall ecosystem scene. Not to repeat what already has been said, definitely access to talent is not only about this need and this urge and this motivation for building technological advancements that will serve local and not only local clientele, but it's also top tier technical and business universities. Also, the financial sector is pretty well established when it comes to the academic background. Secondly, digital infrastructure. Banking sector requires certain setups, certain infrastructure opportunities for it to grow. And we feel like when it comes to then trying to integrate technological, maybe startup, smaller solutions into bigger bodies, we do have not only the infrastructure, but also some programs that are trying to enhance and facilitate this process. So that's a very important factor for us, because we all know that without this commercialization, it's very difficult for startups to thrive or to even maintain. Third aspect that is extremely crucial for us is all of the sort of public type of support, both the governmental and EU. You may encounter many open programs that are active here that will support or actually add some public capital to the private capital that has been invested. For example, in the rounds that, as I mentioned, we do not have enough capital to cover just by private money, but it happens that this public grants are extremely helpful here. And last but not least, the overall ecosystem setup. We have an amazing representation from the FinTech Poland organization here. And that's a perfect example of what it means to connect the dots, to interconnect, to facilitate, to nurture. As I feel from the investor standpoint, that's something crucial. Very quickly speaking, and this is the last part from my presentation, but I wanted to leave you also with something I would say practical, to the extent of, behind the scene logic of how investors here in Poland operate. I would say, maybe I'll start from the following slide. Investors in Poland and generally across the region are a little bit more analytical than people may expect. So even early on, and I showed it here, even if projects, businesses are still pre-traction, we do need some proof that what you're building, what's in your mind for the fintech solution is to the maximum extent validated. So that's why we talk about this early on integrations with banks, beta testing, POCs. That's something extremely important. So we do rather stay away from just vision products. We really love to see, what's happening already out there from the business perspective. Because fintech is pretty specific, it really commonly involves some very, as has already been mentioned, structural and legal aspects to be made sure. We also need this compliance to be set up in a well manner. And still, I know that this trend is changing relatively quickly recently, but as investors, we do look into the ESG alignment. So how this really will support either the consumer pool that you're targeting or businesses in general, and to what extent we can support those social and governance aspects by the solutions that we analyze, that we plan to invest in. So I would say that depending on the stage, obviously it all differs, but starting to think about fundraising here or just co-invest with somebody from the region, I feel like this is something important to take into account, that the cultural aspects and the mindset of investors will probably play a huge role in all of the discussions and the decision-making process. I know I provided a sprint. I hope that that opened some of the doors for you. Some potential questions and follow-ups will be useful. So I'm very thankful for the opportunity to speak here today. I'm more than happy to stay connected with anybody who has any questions, would like to confront something, or would like to open the network for the Polish ecosystem. I'm always available, for example, via LinkedIn. So please reach out, and I'm happy to help along the way. Thank you very much, and I'm giving backstage to Georgie.
Okay, thank you, Karolina. That's very interesting. Well, okay, I will go straight on to Aleksander because we're running out of time. Aleksander is the founder of WEALTHON, who was just mentioned in Karolina's presentation. We'll probably run over 5 minutes if that's okay with everybody, because Aleksander also still has a lot of interesting stuff to tell us. So Aleksander, please go ahead.
Hi, Georgie. Thanks. Like Georgie said, I'm Aleksander. I'm founder of WEALTHON. Can you see my screen? Can you see my presentation?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So I propose that I'll make a quick presentation, then I'll have time for a couple of questions. So WEALTHON since the beginning is fintech focused on the B2B sector. So since the beginning, we were focusing on the B2Bs. Actually, we started from the lending part. The lending was the first product that we provide to the market, and then we expand our product portfolio to the payments and the SaaS. And right now, our solution is an all-in-one management platform for the SMBs. So basically, in our mind, we want to offer the all the features that are needed for the merchants, for the SMBs, to help run their business. So basically, and we are focusing right now mainly on the businesses that has a payment terminals. So basically, the retailers, gastronomy business, beauty sector, etc. So and all the features, like you can see on the scheme, all the features is that we provide, because we are the payment institution right now also. So we provide the payment account, card, payment terminal with the cooperation with Worldline, POS software, cash register, and loans, everything in all-in-one management platform, and where the merchant has a view from the WEALTHON panel or the WEALTHON application. So this is the whole portfolio overview. We have a totally vertical approach. So like I said, we wanted to deliver all-in-one management platform, and we want to deliver in vertical approach. So right now we are focusing on a gastronomy business, because we want to deliver the features at tailored for each vertical. So for example, right now we are fully tailored for the gastronomy, and thanks to that we are able to offer all-in-one, also in a hardware perspective, because we also provide the hardware. We are renting it for the merchant, and we have an mindset like very similar, let's say, to Apple, because we want to deliver one device for the merchant which don't need any other integration. So basically, the merchant open the box with the hardware, open the hardware, and just start running the business. So they don't need to call an integrator, etc., because everything is already working in the device, because it's delivered from us. So this is the portfolio overview. So maybe a couple of words about our previous investment round. So I think we are a very good example in the funding experiences in Poland, because we almost experience, I think, almost every possible ways of funding in Poland, because we started from the crowdfunding, then we had a private issuing for angel investors, and then we came to the VC path. So basically, the VC path started in 2023, where we obtained 10 million Polish zloty from two VC funds, For Growth and NIF. And then, because of working in a debt sector, we needed debt funding, and we got funded from the CVI, which is the biggest debt fund in CE region, I think, which give us money for let's say lending part. And in late 2024, we make a huge investment round with equity and debt. So the equity was provided by 3TS Capital, which was mentioned also in Karolina slide. So this is the European fund, which has an office in Poland, but it's working in, I think, 5 or 6 countries. And we also signed an agreement with the Fortress for 500 million Polish zloty, which is totally outstanding amount. It's the fun fact is that we closed both of these deals during one day, so it was the late December, just before New Year's Eve. So the Fortress deal took us 12 months to be signed, because it's a very complicated deal. It's a securitization deal, so we needed also to set up an entity in Luxembourg, and thanks to that we are also ready to scale to Europe as well, because the funding can be used also in European countries where we should enter in 2026. I'll mention that in next slide. So like you can see, we have a huge way, because we started from the crowdfunding and then VC model and the Fortress. The Fortress is, I didn't mention that, it's one of the biggest debt funds in funds, and they are specialized in debt funding globally. They are based in USA. They used to be owned by SoftBank, and last year Mubadala Fund bought Fortress, so they are a totally global player on the market. Couple of words about the market and the main competitors. So we wanted to show you that we are working in very broad product portfolio, because in almost each product we have competitors, but like you can see on this graph, we are working on each of this sector. So basically combining this products together, we can be very competitive on the pricing point of view, and also from the UX perspectives of the merchant, because we provide all-in-one software, all-in-one device, and that's from the product, from the pricing perspective, and from the UX, like I said, it's much more convenient for the merchant. And the last slide, our business expansion. So we are waiting for a full payment institution license in Poland, and we are ready to expand our business, because the debt funding is ready already. Like I said, the product portfolio is almost ready as well. So we started to search countries where we can enter in 2026. Our idea is to go through the M&A. So we wanted to buy one of the companies providing the probably software, like POS software, because the product, I didn't mention that, this POS product that it's called WEALTHON POS right now, it's we bought the company in 2023 and rebranded to WEALTHON POS and added to our ecosystem. So we want to do it the same in a business expansion, because it will be much easier for us, because we'll buy the merchants per portfolio, and as well the sales team, etc. So it will be much easier for us. So this is the goal. I know that I'm running out of time, so that's it from my quick presentation, and I'm ready to answer some questions.
All right, thank you very much, Aleksander. So we're just gonna run over a couple of minutes. I think if there are any questions for any of our speakers, anyone who has a question, you can take the mic if you want. It's fine. Or are we all blown away by all this knowledge, this information? And no, everybody's hesitant. Well, I had a question, Aleksander. How do investors find a company like you, or how did you find your international investors?
With Depends on the round and the funding. So with the equity funding and the CVI, I approach the fund because I know exactly who are they looking for, and I knew that we could match with our portfolio and our stage. So I approached the For Growth and 3TS Capital, as well as CVI, and with the Fortress, we were introduced by the financial intermediary.
Okay, thanks. And Karolina, if we have international investors, I think there's already quite a lot active in Poland, but if we have new investors who are part of our network and who want to invest in Poland, can they approach you, or how do you find international co-investors? How do you find each other?
Yeah, I feel the best way, especially if there are some initial contacts that have been made, would be to start with co-investing first. That's probably the best option to have foot in the door, especially for having someone at the table who already has some clarity or some transparency into the realities of actual deals, the metrics, and this local aspect if a co-investor is coming from elsewhere, from another region. I would say that we are trying to stay as open as possible. Most of the long-term funds that I know actively co-invest, so it's totally fine for us not only to lead but also to be this extra investor on the table. And mostly we are looking for just this expansive opportunities anywhere possible. So we are looking into active hubs, local ecosystem competitions, and so on and so forth. And sometimes that's how we, meet the fellow investors that already have invested or are right now preparing for the round. It is a relationship business, I feel, not only here but anywhere. Maybe Central European and the Slavic regions are known for this more pressure into relationship building than purely analytical work. So I would say having VC meetups, I can definitely recommend multiple different occasions throughout the year where actually the whole region, pan-European region, is gathering in one place, and this access to active deals, to active investors is pretty straightforward and very effortless, so-called. So I would say just trying to find co-investors, joining some initial deals, and then build your local track record, and then be as a good investor as possible so that you are referred to other founders who will prepare their next fundraising in the near future.
Okay, but so they can give you a call.
Yeah, definitely. We are happy to meet, and we are also all arranging those kind of matchmakings ourselves. So really happy to. Yeah.
Yeah, it would be great if you could, any information about this that you could share on the Slack channel, or share it with me and I share it on the Slack channel, but preferably you share it on the Slack channel, because then we get this kind of information. And Aneta, I had two questions. One, you showed all these interesting support initiatives that you have. Are they also available for foreign VCs, or is it just for Polish VCs?
No, it's for all investors, especially for EU ones, but for foreign investors in general.
Okay, so that's really, really great. So that's really useful for investors. And if it's okay, we would like to also use all your presentations and share them on our website. Okay, so I think we're out of time. Unfortunately. Is there anybody else who would like to ask a question, or I think people will probably have to leave as well? Anybody? No, I don't think so. Well, then I would like to thank all our speakers very much. I've learned a lot. I'm really impressed by the Polish market, and I'm also very impressed by WEALTHON as a company. I think if you look at how broad your product is, it's really amazing, and you're doing so well on the funding side. So thank you very much. It's really good that we were able to add Poland to the information we had about the other countries. And I hope to meet all of you on our several platforms of the FINE project. Right. Thank you very much, and have a nice day, everybody, and stay cool.